What's up everyone, and welcome back to the Bold and the Beautiful 24 official channel. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button today. Let's get started. Bill kidnaps Liam, Hope and Steffy's horror, Grace's victory. The Bold and the Beautiful Liam Spencer to still be unconscious after the brain surgery. However, Bill Spencer wastes no time sneaking his son out of the surgical center. Meanwhile, word will spread that the patient went missing. Liam Spencer's brain surgery. Let's start off with Liam, who just had brain surgery at a private surgical center. Grace Buckingham kept pressuring Liam to get the experimental procedure. Then, she asked John Finnegan to pressure Liam to make a decision. After the shooting, Grace then went to Bill and finally got the okay. This surgery was happening the very next day, so there wasn't time to really tell anyone. Grace Buckingham's victory. After the surgery, Grace told Bill that it was a huge success. The doctor claimed that the entire tumor had been removed. Then, she called it a miracle and really did seem full of joy. It's unclear whether it's the tumor or the recent $1 million transfer. Not to mention that her colleague seemed way too quiet and there was just something off about him. Patient napping by Bill Spencer. After the surgery, Liam will still be unconscious. That's when Bill does something daring and takes his son out of the hospital. It's not clear whether Grace and Bill had this plan all along or if Bill just did something on the spur of the moment. In any case, that's really dangerous and Liam will need around-the-clock care. Even if the tumor was all removed, the procedure came with a lot of risks. Grace had previously informed Liam that he might suffer nerve damage and end up in the hospital. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers for the next episode reveal that Hope Logan and Steffy Forrester Finnegan will continue to worry about Liam. Now that John Finnegan and Bridget Forrester know about Grace discharging Liam, Hope and Steffy will likely find out that Liam is missing next. However, will Bill tell everyone that he's taking care of Liam? Or will it remain a mystery? Could Grace disappear with the sole purpose of being Liam's paid caregiver until he's better again? Bill prays and offers to die in Liam's place. The Bold and the Beautiful reveals that Bill Spencer prayed and offered to die in Liam Spencer's place while Poppy Nozawa visited John Finnegan at the hospital. Prior to his procedure, Liam was anxious at the private surgical center. Bill gave Liam a pep talk along with Grace Buckingham before she introduced her colleague, Dr. Adhikari. As Liam was prepped for surgery, Grace reminded Bill about the money required. Bill eventually made a phone call and got confirmation on the wire transfer going through. After spending some time pacing around the waiting area, Bill eventually said a prayer and asked if he could go with him if someone had to leave. Bill asked not to lose his son because he couldn't bear to lose Liam. Meanwhile, Grace seemed nervous as she used a scalpel to make an incision on Liam's head. Dr. Adhikari nodded at Grace to give her encouragement, but the whole thing seemed super shady. After the surgery was finished, Dr. Adhikari didn't have much to say to Bill other than it went well. Grace assured Bill that they pulled off a medical miracle, so he marveled over the tumor being gone and Liam having a chance to live. Those were 1 in a million odds according to Bill. At the hospital, Poppy seemed like she was looking for closure as she approached Finn to discuss Luna Nozawa. Poppy had a lot of regrets when it came to her daughter, but not being honest about Luna's father would haunt her the most. Finn ultimately wasn't interested in discussing all this with Poppy and had to go deal with a patient. As for Bridget Forrester, she was taken aback to find that Liam wasn't in his room. Bridget was told that Grace already released Liam into Bill's care, so she gave Finn updates on that perplexing news. At Forrester Creations, Steffy Forrester, Hope Logan, Carter Walton, and Brooke Logan all talked about Liam being a hero. After Steffy called to check on Ms. Dillon, she talked about Bill presumably wanting to take Liam back to his place and still blamed him for a lot of what went down with Luna. Bill kidnaps Liam, Hope and Steffy's horror, Grace's victory. The air was heavy with tension as Liam Spencer remained unconscious following a grueling and highly controversial brain surgery, a procedure spearheaded by Grace Buckingham at a discreet private surgical facility. With barely a moment to process the risk or inform his loved ones, Liam was swept into the experimental operation based on Grace's fervent belief in a medical breakthrough. It had all happened so fast. Grace had pushed hard, cornering not only Liam but also recruiting John Finnegan to sway him toward the decision. After Liam took a bullet for Steffy Forrester, the guilt and urgency became unbearable, especially for Bill Spencer, who was desperate to save his son. With mounting pressure and very little time, Bill caved to Grace's insistence and greenlit the procedure, transferring a hefty sum, $1 million, to fund it. What none of them expected was what would unfold next, a stunning post-surgery move by Bill that sent shockwaves through every corner of Los Angeles. Grace emerged from the operating room triumphantly, practically glowing as she declared the operation a miracle. According to her, the entire tumor had been excised, giving Liam an improbable second chance at life. As he held on to Grace's words, Bill felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude and had his faith briefly restored. However, something was off. Dr. Adhikari, the mysterious surgeon working alongside Grace, remained unervingly silent throughout. His avoidance of Bill's questions, his eyes shifting away, the quick exits, everything about him screamed red flag. But Bill was too wrapped in the joy of potential salvation to notice. That joy quickly mutated into something far more dangerous, an obsessive need to protect Liam from further harm, no matter the cost. While Liam lay unconscious in his post-op room, Bill took a drastic and highly illegal turn. With calculated stealth, he wheeled Liam out of the surgical facility, bypassing the traditional discharge process and avoiding all questions. It remained a mystery whether Grace had planned this or if it was a sudden act of paternal desperateness. What was clear, however, was the danger. Liam required constant monitoring, as complications such as nerve damage, brain swelling, and infection loomed large. Removing him from the facility without proper care was reckless, if not lethal. And yet, Bill was convinced that no one else could protect his son like he could. As the news broke that Liam was missing, panic erupted. At the hospital, Bridget Forrester discovered Liam's bed empty. Her confusion turned to alarm as a nurse reported that Dr. Buckingham had released Liam into his father's custody. Finn, equally baffled, immediately questioned the ethics and legality of such a move. Everyone who had Liam's best interests at heart felt a sense of dread as a result of Bill and Liam's absence and Grace's opportune absence. It didn't take long for Hope Logan and Steffy Forrester to learn that Liam had vanished, and their horror was palpable. To them, this wasn't just a procedural error or misunderstanding. This was Bill Spencer going rogue in the most extreme way possible. Steffy and Hope were still reeling from the shooting incident involving Luna Nozawa, a traumatic event that culminated in Liam's near-death and subsequent diagnosis. They had only just begun to find solace in the fact that Liam had survived surgery, clinging to hope that recovery was near. Now, with his whereabouts unknown, that fragile hope shattered. Brooke Logan and Carter Walton joined the chorus of concern at Forrester Creations, calling Liam a hero and questioning how this situation could have spiraled out of control so quickly. Brooke speculated on whether Grace and Bill had conspired all along, while Carter warned that the legal repercussions could be catastrophic if Liam's condition worsened. Back at the hospital, Finn struggled to maintain composure. He had his hands full with patient care and was already dealing with a surprise visit from Poppy Nozawa, who came to him in tears seeking closure over her daughter Luna's tragic end. Poppy confessed her guilt, especially over keeping Luna's paternity a secret, and Finn, emotionally drained, could offer little solace. He had his own grief, his own responsibilities, and now, the escalating crisis with Liam. Meanwhile, Bill had taken Liam to a remote, highly secured location, a private estate outfitted with medical equipment and personnel he hand-selected. Grace appeared at the hideaway shortly after, claiming she was there to monitor Liam's recovery. Whether she was motivated by loyalty, money, or ambition remained unclear, but her presence was ominous. The lines between caregiver and co-conspirator blurred. Bill, wrapped in a protective fury, ignored calls from Steffy, Hope, and Bridget. To him, they didn't understand. They wouldn't go as far as he would to save Liam's life. In a particularly chilling moment, Bill prayed beside Liam's bed, pleading once again with the universe to spare his son. He whispered, "Take me instead. If someone has to die, let it be me." His emotional unraveling was complete, and his judgment now clouded by obsession. He wasn't thinking like a businessman or even a father anymore. He was a man on the brink, willing to defy the law, medicine, and morality for the sake of keeping Liam alive and close. Grace, for her part, seemed emboldened. She moved around the estate with eerie calm, documenting Liam's vitals and scribbling notes. To her, this was validation of her medical theories, her big break, the case that would redefine her career, assuming it didn't end in disaster. Her loyalty to Bill, however, remained suspicious. Was she just following orders, or did she have her own plan? As law enforcement started getting involved and media whispers of a missing post-op patient spread, Hope and Steffy found themselves forced into unlikely alliance. Their mutual concern for Liam pushed them to confront Bill head-on. They would find him. They would get Liam the help he truly needed. And if Bill or Grace had endangered him in any way, there would be hell to pay. In the meantime, Liam remained unaware of the storm brewing around him. Sedated, unconscious, and cut off from the world, he teetered on the edge of survival and deeper neurological unknowns. Would he wake up better, or worse? Would he remember what happened? And if he did wake up, what would he say about his father's decision to spirit him away from the very people who loved him most? The fallout from Bill's actions would echo through the halls of Forrester Creations, Spencer Publications, and the hospital corridors. Trust would be broken. Friendships tested. And Grace Buckingham, once an ambitious doctor clawing her way back to respectability, may have finally secured her victory. But at what cost? Because if anything went wrong with Liam's recovery, it wouldn't just be her license on the line. It would be her soul.